Hey, good morning, Chavra. Today is the 27th day of Sivan, and we're in the middle of chapter 8 in the Shaykh Emunah. We're on page 63 in the Chayenu. Let me just give you the quick takeaway from yesterday. We'll roll over into today. Takeaway from yesterday was you are programmed to understand things and process information the way the human mind works. That's the way it is. And above that, sometimes it's impossible, or usually it's impossible. When it comes to understanding Hashem, you have to think outside the box. You have to realize we're not going to be able to understand with our limited capacity of understanding. God is not limited to work in a finite manner. In today's lesson, the greatest quality that man possesses, the greatest quality, is his wisdom. His wisdom creates emotions which direct his thought, speech, and action. And it is thus self-understood that there's a wide gap between man's intellect and human action. Okay. The first, meaning supreme quality and rank with regard to created beings, is wisdom, for which reason it's called the beginning. Excuse me. As in the phrase, the beginning of wisdom. Indeed, it's the beginning of all the life force in creations, in creatures. Once we have initial wisdom, then we can get understanding of the subject and also knowledge. And from them flow all the emotive attributes of the rational soul, such as love and kindness and mercy and the like. All these derive from the intellectual attributes, wisdom. Anytime a person wants to do something or create something or learn something, he has to start with the idea, the wisdom that comes into his head, the knowledge that comes into his head, and from there, he develops it, and then slowly he could express it in different ways. Through love, through kindness, through mercy, through creativity, for whatever it is. And we see clearly, when it comes to a little kid, a child, that they don't have the intellectual capacity that adults do after they master their emotions. What happens? A kid becomes angry and unkind, and he loves silly things that are, I love a lollipop. What do you want the most for your, 3-year birthday? Lollipops. Like, that's not intellectual. That's just based on emotion. Because a child still lacks the understanding to love things that are worthy of love. For love varies with the level of one's understanding. So the more you understand what is important in the world, what's important in life, the more you'll focus the love in the right places. Versus, I want candy, or I just want to run and play, or they get angry. And you'll see they get angry, but they forget about it right away. Unfortunately, adults, they don't forget about it right away because they think about it too much. So they get angry at somebody, they dig in, and then they, 10, 20 years later, they're still angry about that one thing. Sometimes we can learn from the kids what to do. So the emotions are dependent on the intellect and understanding and are derived from them. From the emotive attributes of the soul, words and letters of thought issue forth. The soul thinks of this and that, which it loves, or how to perform deeds of kindness and mercy. And so too all the other emotive attributes, they all serve as a source for the words and letters of thought. Within every thought in the world, there is clothed some emotive attribute that causes one to think that thought. And this attribute is the vivifying, the force of it's the energy behind that thought. From the letters of a man's thought process, the letters of his speech, and they, the letters of thought, are their actual energy, vivifying force here. Va'adibor maybe lidei ma'isa, and speech in turn gives rise to action, like tzedakah and chesed and kindness. Yigar melech shemitzav el avadav litein, like a king who orders his servants to give, meaning his speech causes his charitable thought to result in action. So if you think of a kindness in your mind, you're like, oh, I want to really help this guy. This guy needs my help. And you say it in words, but then you have to act on it. You have to take the money out of your pocket and give it to the guy. Even when a man himself does some deed, which he had thought of doing, the power of the soul and its life force, which clothes itself in this deed, is an absolute nothing in relation to the power of the soul and its life force, which does what? It clothes itself in the speech of man. They are to each other as the relation and comparison of the body to the soul. To the same degree, there's no comparison between the power of the soul and its life force, which clothes itself in the speech of man, and the power of the soul and its life force, which clothes itself in man's actions. Therefore, when this power and life force has descended so far that it's able to clothe itself in action, it has already undergone contractions and condensation, which are far below the power of speech. Likewise, the distance of body from soul is the relation of the letters of speech to the letters of thought. And likewise is the relation of the letters of thought to the essence of the emotive attributes which is clothed in it and animates it, meaning the thought that derives from an emotion is in no way comparable to the emotion itself. And likewise, similarly, the relation of the essence of the life force of this emotive attribute in comparison with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, which together constitutes the intellect from which this attribute was derived. So we see that in the chain of descent, as it goes from level to level, beginning with wisdom and culminating it with action, each level bears no comparison at all to the level right before it. Emotions are not compared to intellect. Thought is not compared to emotions, and so on. Surely then there's no comparison whatsoever between the lowest degree of action and the highest degree of wisdom. All this applies to the soul of man and the soul of all created beings in all the higher and lower worlds. In all of them, wisdom is the beginning and the source of all life force, of the life force. With Hashem, however, as we're going to soon see, Hashem is as distant from the degree of wisdom as he is from that of action. From the divine perspective, action and wisdom are humble equals. So what are we saying here? What's the takeaway? What makes us special? What makes us unique? Our wisdom, our ability to dive deep with our intellect. And when we fully comprehend something, that controls our feelings. If we understand something and we're happy about it, we're excited about it, Somebody shares some news with us. You go talk to Paul, you talk to your dog and you tell him, do you know what happened in Israel today? And the dog just looks back at you and says, where's lunch? It doesn't matter to animals as long as they have their food to eat and their sleep, and that's it. That's all they care about. There's no wisdom. There's no thought process. Maybe they get a little, emotional with their babies when they're born, or if the baby dies, but that's about it. But with humans, we have the wisdom, and that really controls our feelings. And consequently, it also controls our thoughts, our speech, and our action. So the wisdom is a very powerful thing. And hopefully we focus our wisdom on the proper things, our thoughts on proper things, our speech on Torah and words of prayer. And action, we do whatever we can to make the world a better place with every action that we are able to fulfill. Everyone have a good day. And tomorrow, this concludes chapter 8. Tomorrow we begin chapter 9 in Shara Yichud Ve'emunah.